Okay, in this video, I'm going to go over the storyboarding and sitemap assignments and process. A couple of things. One, this image here on the left is just that, it's an image. Your website does not have to look like that, although I would say that is a pretty standard layout for a website, but you don't have to follow that, and I'm going to go through that here. The sitemap image down here on the bottom, actually, your sitemap for this assignment should look exactly like this. You're going to create a two-level website with the home page or the index as the top or the parent page with 3 pages after it, and I've actually even given you the 3 pages. Your next project, you will have a little more leeway, and it'll be up to you to decide, and I may tell you to make a 2 or a 3 level website. So you have to understand that the home page is always the parent page, well, usually the parent page, and how to go on from there. As far as storyboarding goes, storyboarding is something that's used to map out or diagram what your web page is actually going to look like. So you need to know also, though, I went to the next page, what requirements there are for your project. So I've listed them here on the next page, and we're going to kind of refer back to this as we do the storyboard. So an H1, there has to be an H1 tag used correctly on each page. H2, there must be at least one H2 used correctly somewhere on your site over the 4 pages. Table, you're going to use a table on every page to lay it out. And here's a hint, if you make your page layouts the same, all 4 of them, it will be a lot easier because you can use the same table. Image, you have to have an appropriately sized image. After the more images assignment, you should have learned how to size images down at this point. And you have to have a list on one page of your site. It doesn't have to be on every page, but it could be. And finally, all pages must have links to all the other pages of your sites, meaning there would be 4 links on each page. Even the page you're on must contain a link to itself, because that's good web design. And I know this isn't a web design class, but if you're going to do it, you have to follow those principles. And secondly, somewhere in your site, you have to have a link to another server that opens in a new window or tab, because you should know how to do that. So if we were going to, I'm going to open this in a new window or a new tab. Let's say that we were going to use something like this for our layout. And again, not required, but it's there. I'm going to go over to Word, because I would use Word to do this. And I know I have it half on and half off the page. First thing I would do is change my page layout so it is a landscape, not a portrait, because your monitor tends to be more of a landscape, not a portrait. And then if I look back at this table again, I can see it has 1, 2, 3 rows and essentially 2 columns. So I'm going to put in a table that looks like that to start with. Insert a table, and we said 2 columns and 3 rows. Now I know that this table right now doesn't look much like that image in the other page, but we're going to make it look that way. So let's say I highlight the first row and I merge those cells. So now that's looking a little more like it. And that was, the bottom was kind of the same way. And then I could pull this over here so it's about like that. Now that table looks a little more like it. But here's the point of doing your storyboard. You're going to go back to that list of requirements, and you're going to map out each page, and you're going to tell me what's on that page. So maybe you have one page and it's or one table on your page and it's like this one that we have set up. So in this box would be your header, and you would type that in, and you're going to put, this is where you use your H1 tags. And this box is probably going to be your navigation. And if it's like this, you probably are going to use an unordered list for your navigation. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in right here and put home. I forgot my education, jobs, and personal assessment. The footer might be, in this case, I'm not sure what you would put in the footer. You could put a copyright, and maybe this is your H2 tags. I don't know. I'm making this up as I go. But up here in this box, what I would do is I would go down another one and I would put this is your list of links. They all open in the same window. You could italicize this to let me know that's your notes. Okay, so over here, you have to have, on each page still, you have to have 2 to 3 sentences you write. So you know you're going to have some P tags here. And this is your home page, so let's say it's your introduction to this career. And if you're going to put an image on here, if you want the image placed on the right, in Word you could insert a text box that says image, and we could probably place it on the right. You could probably move this over here. But in this text box, that I would want you to say image, and you should, after more images, know how to align it to the right. But here you could make me a note that says, I know I put IMG SRC equals quote, and then you put the file name. You also need to put in align equals right. And you also need to put in alt text, which you should know after doing the assignments. And if you have to size it down, you can put that in there too. But that's where you would put that. Now you don't have to align it to the right, but that helps you do that. And all of this goes inside your TD tags for this table cell. So the other additional information that I would want on this page would be file name. And if this is your home page, it would be index.html. Whoops, I could type that correctly. And page name. And page name is going to equal home page. And then you can go down and add your next page, and you can map that out. And actually, I'm going to go to the next page and just quickly do another layout for all of you. If I were to insert a table, let's say, I could do one that had a header by itself. Whoops. I'm going to delete that. Okay. Insert table 1. Okay. So I would go and put my header in that. Then what if I did a table that was, it looks like it's 2, but if I came down to this bottom one and I did split cells and I did 4 columns, Then I could do something like this. Home, education, jobs, and personal assessment. You guys can do this in Word. You can do this in, you could sketch it and take a picture of it and turn it in. You could do this in a Paint or a Draw program. But the idea is that when you give me your sitemap, I could look at it and I could look at this list of requirements and I can see that you have planned where you are going to put in each requirement for this project. The other thing I would tell you is if you're designing, if your table includes lots of merged cells or split cells like in this one, let me know, and I'm willing to give you the table code because I know that can get pretty tedious writing that code, and I would be willing to share that with you. But you have to give me the drawing to make so I know what it should look like. And again, you can turn that in several different ways. Let me know if you have questions.